family photography. It's time to take a perfect family picture. Mummy Pig sets the camera on the timer. Everyone gets into position. Say cheese! Peppa smiles brightly, but George winks just as the camera is about to flash. Take 2. Try to hold still. Everyone is looking at the lens. But Daddy Pig feels a tickle in his nose. Something is wrong. Daddy Pig! Achoo! Daddy Pig sneezes just as the camera snaps. The whole family bursts into laughter. Oh well, they'll have to try again.
A healthy start to the day. Morning is here. The pig family goes out to the yard to start the new day with lots of energy. Stretch high to welcome the new day. Let's try to touch the fluffy white clouds. Woo-hoo-hoo! Bend down a little, then twist side to side. Exercising helps us have a flexible and healthy body. Now it's time to jog in place. Look, the pig family is working out so hard and happily together. A new day is wonderful when we are healthy. The pig family is ready for today's adventures.
Sleeping blanket. Nighttime has come. It is officially bedtime. Peppa and George are in their beds. Daddy Pig steps into the room. Daddy Pig tucks Peppa in. He pulls the blanket up high, making sure Peppa is warm for the night. No cold toes for her. Daddy Pig moves to George's bed. George is cuddling Mr. Dinosaur. Daddy Pig tucks in George and Mr. Dinosaur too. Both are cozy. Daddy Pig kisses Peppa's forehead. Then he kisses George's forehead. Good night, little ones. He quietly leaves and turns off the light. Sweet dreams. Peppa learns to clean up after playing. Peppa and George are having fun playing with toys all over the room. But toys are scattered everywhere. Aha! Mommy Pig comes in and says, we should tidy up our toys after playing to keep the room neat. Peppa and George start picking up each toy, putting the Lego in the box, and placing the stuffed animals on the shelf. Everything becomes neat little by little. They clean the table, sweep the floor, and look around. Now the room is clean and tidy, making Peppa and George very proud. With a little effort, Peppa and George learned that tidying up after playing not only keeps the room clean, but also makes the whole family happy. Hide and seek game. Peppa and George decide to play hide and seek. Peppa covers her eyes. She starts counting. 1, 2, 3. George hurries to find a hiding spot. He runs to the sofa. He ducks down trying to hide. But look, his little ears are peeking over the top of the sofa. Peppa finishes counting. 10! Ready or not, here I come! Peppa turns around. She looks straight at the sofa. George did not hide very well. Peppa walks right to the sofa. Peppa finds George. Aha! There's George! George jumps out. He smiles happily at being found. George will count next. Today, the school is holding a running competition. Peppa, George, and the others are very excited to participate. Who will be the winner? The whistle has blown! The race is officially on! Peppa and George and their friends run as fast as they can. Oh no! There are many obstacles on the track. Peppa has to overcome them, but George can't stop because he tripped over a small rock. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig cheered enthusiastically, which gave Peppa and George extra motivation to continue the competition. And finally, Peppa and her friends finished the competition. Even though she wasn't the winner, Peppa felt very happy because she tried her best.
Peppa and the Tidy Bookshelf. Oh, the comic books are all over the place. Peppa and George decide to tidy up to make their reading corner look lovely. Big books first, small books later. Let's sort the book friends by their size. One by one, very carefully. Look! The rows of books are becoming so neat and straight. Peppa's bookshelf is now so tidy and organized. It's so easy to find her favorite storybook now. Working together is so much fun. Now, let's read a book together. The magic carpet in the living room. Peppa and George are playing when suddenly the red rug begins to wiggle. Look, the rug is lifting up. A magic carpet right in the living room. The carpet whisks them out the window, soaring through the bright blue sky. After a long journey, the carpet brings them safely home. What a wonderful ride! No one knows the secret of this magic carpet, do they?
Adventure in the Little Forest. Peppa and George are excited to step into the small forest where trees and rustling leaves await. They don't know what surprises are ahead. Oh, wow! The leaves in the forest seem to dance, falling on Peppa and George's heads like funny hats. Look! A big tree looks like it's laughing! Its branches shake, making Peppa and George jump back, then laugh at the silly sight. They have to cross a small pond, but leaves cover the water like a wobbly bridge. Peppa and George jump around, splashing water everywhere. Finally, Peppa and George sit under a tree, laughing as they look around. They had a funny and joyful adventure in the small forest. Peppa and the Puzzle Game. Peppa and George are ready to play with colorful building blocks. They don't know that today, the blocks will be very special. Oh no! The first block jumps and changes color. Peppa and George are wide-eyed and giggle with surprise. The other blocks also transform into little animals, dancing all over the floor. Peppa and George chase them, picking them up with laughter. Yahoo! The blocks form funny shapes, then change into new ones. Peppa and George try to guess, but are always surprised and laugh non-stop. Finally, the blocks return to normal, but still brightly colored. Peppa and George giggle happily, enjoying the magical shape-shifting game.
Peppa and the surprise fishing trip. It's a beautiful day. Daddy Pig is taking Peppa and George fishing. Everyone is hoping to catch a big fish for dinner. The three of them sat in silence on the grass. George stared at the water. Suddenly, Peppa's fishing rod shook violently and bent sharply.
Whoa!
Keep very still. Look, Peppa's fishing rod is wiggling. It must be a giant fish. Peppa pulls as hard as she can and, oh dear, it's not a fish at all. It's an old muddy boot. Daddy Pig says maybe a giant fish lost its boot. Everyone laughs at the unexpected gift from the river.
Peppa learns about plants. Today, Peppa and George are going to learn about plants. They walk into the garden and see trees, flowers, and fresh green vegetables. Peppa points at a tomato plant and says, "This is a tomato plant." George sees a lettuce and realizes, "And this is lettuce!" Mummy Pig shows Peppa and George how to water the plants. They learn that plants need water to grow and stay healthy. Peppa notices the beautiful roses and the bright red strawberries. She learns to distinguish flowers from fruits. Finally, Peppa and George sit under a tree, feeling proud that they have learned so much about plants. The whole garden looks green and full of life. Snowman making. This morning, Peppa wakes up to find the garden covered in white snow. A perfect day for building snowmen awaits her. Peppa and George roll huge snowballs with Daddy Pig. George adds a carrot nose to the snowman while Peppa laughs with delight. The snowman is almost ready. Peppa decorates the eyes with coal, adds a hat, and George sticks branches for arms. What a wonderful creation! After finishing the snowman, Peppa and George throw snowballs and play around it. The whole family's laughter echoes across the snowy yard. A wonderful day with the snowman comes to an end. Peppa and her family will always remember these fun and happy moments. Harvesting vegetables. Peppa and George are visiting Grandpa Pig's vegetable garden. It's time to harvest the carrots. Grandpa gives them an empty basket. Peppa starts pulling. She grabs a small carrot top. Pull! The small carrot comes out easily. Peppa is a good gardener.
Okay.
George finds a very big carrot top. This must be a giant carrot. George holds tight and pulls, pulls, pulls. It is very hard. Grandpa and Peppa come to help George. 1, 2, 3, pull! The giant carrot pops out of the ground. It is so big. George hugs his giant trophy carrot. They put it in the basket and walk home. What a wonderful day of harvesting!
Peppa's dad's new challenge. Peppa and George are playing jump rope. Daddy Pig wants to join in to show that he is a true athlete. Let's get started. Peppa and George are swinging the rope steadily. Daddy Pig is ready for his first jump. One, 2, 3. Oh my goodness! Every time Daddy Pig jumps, the whole ground shakes like an earthquake. It seems the rope is a bit too small for Daddy Pig. But anyway, it's a very fun workout for everyone.
high slide bridge. Today the family is at the park. Peppa slides down very fast, but George is still standing at the bottom, looking up. This slide looks a bit too high for George. George starts to climb the steps one by one. When he reaches the top, he looks down and feels a little scared. George hugs Mr. Dinosaur tightly and is afraid to slide down. Don't worry, George. Daddy Pig is here to help. He sits behind George and holds him tight so he feels safer. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Whee! They both slide down together. That was amazing! George is very happy and he isn't scared of the high slide anymore. Everyone is laughing happily. What a wonderful day at the park! Making cookies. Mummy Pig is preparing to make biscuits in the kitchen. Peppa and George are all ready to lend a hand. Mummy is sharing the dough with them. Peppa rolls out the dough very skillfully. She chooses a lovely little star-shaped cutter. Look, Peppa has made a perfect star. And George is shaping the dough with his little hands. He makes a very big circle. Well done, George! Your biscuit looks so funny. The biscuits are put into the oven. They are going to be very delicious. Baking with the family is so much fun. George's giant dream.
Oh.
George just ate a magic candy. Look, he's growing bigger and bigger.
Huh? Aha!
Now George is a giant. He's taking Peppa on a grand adventure. The clouds are right under their feet. The whole world looks so tiny. Oh, everything is fading away. It was all just a wonderful dream. Good night, little ones. Sweet dreams of magic adventures.
Magic from the pig box!
It is raining heavily outside. Peppa and George look out the window. Oh, look! The whole world today has suddenly turned into a dull and boring shade of grey. Peppa suddenly has a wonderful idea. If the world has no colour, the two siblings will paint it themselves. A splash of green for the thirsty little plants. Look, the leaves have started to wake up and dance joyfully in the wind. George gives the sky a bright golden sun. And just like that, those loving brushstrokes have chased away the gloom. The gray world from before has now become a beautiful rainbow masterpiece. The magical weather battle. Whoa! Peppa and George have some truly magical weather wands. Wow! Peppa loves the bright summer. Look, the sun has woken up. But George wants to play in the snow. Chilly winter has arrived. Oh no! The weather is all mixed up! It's sunny and snowy at the same time! No matter the season, playing together is the best, isn't it? Detective Peppa and the Cookie Case.
There is a big mystery at the pig house. The cookie plate is empty. Detective Peppa is on the case to find the thief. Look! The crumbs scattered on the floor have left a trail. Detective Peppa doesn't miss a single clue. The trail leads straight to Daddy Pig. Oh dear, look at that tummy full of crumbs. We have found the culprit. Daddy Pig is caught red-handed. The case is officially closed. Everyone is having a big laugh together. Peppa and the secret tin can phone. Peppa and George are making a special telephone using tin cans and a long piece of string. Peppa whispers secret things into the tin can. George can hear her clearly from all the way in the garden. How magical! Daddy Pig wants to listen too, but he steps back too far and pulls the string tight. Oh dear, Daddy Pig is pulling Peppa right out of the house. It seems this telephone needs a much longer string for Daddy Pig. Everyone is having a big laugh together. Peppa Pig with a red kite. It's a very windy weekend on the hill. Peppa and George are getting ready for the red kite's first flight. The wind is blowing so hard. The red kite is dancing in the deep blue sky. Look how high it flies. Hold the string tight, Peppa. The kite is like a little bird, freely exploring the fluffy clouds. Oh, the wind is getting stronger. Everyone work together to keep the kite from flying away. How exciting! Flying a kite with family is the best thing ever. What a happy day for Peppa and George. The fun of waiting in line. Oh, look! The new slide is so exciting. Everyone wants to slide down quickly. But wait a moment, little ones. One at a time, everyone will get a turn. Standing in line properly makes the game much safer and more fun. Waiting can be a fun game too. The little ones are chatting and making up mini games while they wait in line. It's Peppa's turn. Whee! That was great! Then, we patiently go to the back of the line to let others have their turn. Learning to wait helps us become better friends. What a meaningful day at the park!
One beautiful morning, Little Pig and Little Pig were walking in the garden. Little Pig suddenly discovered a big rock. But the strange thing was, this rock could move. The curious little pig approached the rock, and in the blink of an eye, the rock started rolling, as if it wanted to lead the little pig somewhere. The stone led Little Pig into a mysterious area of the garden, where there was a small gate covered with wildflowers. The gate seemed never to have been opened. As they passed through the mysterious gate, Little Pig and Sister Pig enter a magical garden, a vast flower garden, and a giant candy garden. So the adventure ends, but this mysterious garden will surely have many interesting things waiting for Little Pig and Sister Pig to discover. Who knows where this stone will lead them next?
The umbrella of friendship. Peppa and Susie were strolling along the street. Peppa was carrying a foldable pink umbrella. What an exciting walk! But look, gray clouds are coming and bringing an unexpected rain. Oh no, Susie doesn't have an umbrella. Don't worry, Susie. We can share this umbrella. Sharing is the best way to keep our hearts warm. Under the pink umbrella, the best friends still feel so cozy. The rain has passed, leaving a brilliant rainbow behind. Friendship is just as beautiful and sparkling as that. A meaningful day when we know how to help each other. See you on our next adventures. Counting with fruits. Wow. Peppa took each apple out of the basket and arranged them in a horizontal row on the table. Counting is fun with sweet apples. Let's see how many apples Peppa has on the table. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 red apples look so delicious. How far can you count? Now, Peppa is sharing these apples with everyone. 1 for each. Let's count backward together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Sharing with family makes counting much more meaningful. Isn't learning to count fun?
Play jump rope. Peppa and the rabbit friend are playing jump rope. They swing the rope and jump up high. They are both very good.
Whoa!
George wants to play too. He stands nearby and tries to jump in. George jumps in, but it's the wrong timing. He trips on the rope. George tries again. He jumps up. Oh dear, the jump rope is completely tangled around George's feet. He's stuck now. Peppa and the rabbit friend laugh. They help George untangle the rope. Now George points to Mr. Dinosaur. Maybe he wants to jump. Halloween house decorating. Today, Peppa and her family are decorating the house for Halloween. The atmosphere is exciting and fun. Peppa places the pumpkin lights. George hangs spooky masks. Gotcha. They laugh as the yard transforms into a fun Halloween space. Daddy Pig hangs fake cobwebs. Mummy Pig puts spooky stickers on the windows. Peppa and George run around, laughter filling the yard. The Halloween house is ready! Peppa jumps with joy. George claps in delight, and the family laughs happily. A wonderful Halloween decorating day comes to an end. Peppa and her family are ready to enjoy a fun-filled Halloween night. Peppa learns geometry. Today, Peppa and George will learn to recognize shapes. Mummy Pig brings out a shape chart and starts explaining to them. Wow. Peppa sees a round ball rolling across the garden. She happily exclaims, "This is a circle, like our ball." Next, Peppa and George see a square gift box. Peppa says, "This is a square. A square has 4 equal sides. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, Peppa and George notice a triangle-shaped pizza slice. "This is a triangle," Peppa says. "It has 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Peppa notices the rectangular rug in the living room. A rectangle has 2 long sides and 2 short sides, Peppa explains. Mommy Pig and Daddy Pig are very proud of Peppa and George for recognizing the shapes. The whole family happily plays with the shapes Peppa and George have learned. Little Pig and Sister Pig are preparing a wonderful party with delicious grilled food. Everyone is happy, but something unexpected is about to happen.
Yahoo!
Suddenly, there was a sizzling sound from the oven. Something was definitely wrong. Little Pig and Big Sister Pig ran around the kitchen in a panic. Little Pig grabbed everything to put out the fire while Big Sister searched for a towel. But would this help? But then a miracle happened. Sister Pig found the fire extinguisher and ran out to put out the fire. Recognize colors. Today, Mommy Pig is going to teach Peppa and George to recognize colors. She brings out a color chart and starts explaining to them. Peppa points at the red apple and says, "This is red just like this apple." George looks at it and says, "Red is so nice." Peppa sees the fresh green trees in the garden and says, "This is green, just like the leaves on the trees." Peppa points at the bright yellow sunflower and says, "This is yellow, just like this sunflower." Peppa looks up at the sky and says, "This is blue, just like the sky." Peppa and George are happy that they've learned the colors. They feel proud to recognize red, green, yellow, and blue in the world around them. A happy morning starts with, a delicious chocolate cake. Oh my, who could resist? But when the baby turned around, oh what? Where did the cake go? The little pig is on a hunt. Under the table, in the fridge, even in his boots. And finally, the cake was right in the hands of the pig, eating deliciously. But don't worry, Piggy has prepared a second portion of cake for you. How sweet! Peppa Pig and the Underwater Adventure. Today, Peppa and her family are going to explore the underwater world. A colorful adventure full of strange and wonderful sea creatures awaits them. Wow! Peppa is ready to dive into the sea. She can't wait any longer. But will Peppa find some fascinating sea creatures down there?
Aha!
Amazing! Brightly colored fish are swimming all around Peppa and George. But wait, what's that? A giant whale is coming closer. What a surprise! How beautiful! The colorful coral reefs are full of tiny crabs and starfish. Peppa finds a little crab playing with a shiny shell. She feels like she's in a whole new world. The underwater adventure is coming to an end. Peppa and George are so happy to have discovered a magical world beneath the sea. But they know there's still so much more to explore. What a wonderful day it's been! Peppa and her family will always remember their amazing underwater adventure. And who knows, maybe next time, another adventure awaits. Today, Peppa and George are going to visit your different houses in class. They are so excited to see what kind of houses you live in. The first house they came to was Ket's. It was small and colorful. Peppa and George both loved it immediately. Peppa's house is different. It's tall and modern, with big windows looking out onto the garden. Peppa and George love it because it's so spacious. Bear's house is located in the forest and is made of wood. This is Peppa and George's favorite house because it is close to nature and has a beautiful garden. After the tour, Peppa and her friends sat down and realized that each house had its own special thing. Bubble blowing contest. Today, there's a special event at school, the balloon blowing contest. Madaman explains the rules. Everyone gets one balloon, and whoever blows the biggest balloon without popping it wins. The children are excited. Everyone wants to win the contest. The contest begins, but blowing balloons isn't as easy as it looks. Some little accidents make everyone laugh out loud. In the end, only Peppa and Susie are left with their balloons. Who will be the winner? Susie wins, but Peppa is happy too. The balloon blowing contest has brought lots of fun and laughter to everyone.
A rain of sweet candy.
It looks like rain. Peppa and George are about to run inside. Oh, but this isn't ordinary rain. Whoa! Whoa! A shower of sweet marshmallows is falling from the sky. Quick, everyone! Let's catch the treasures from the sky! It's the best rainy day in the whole wide world.
High Slide Bridge. Today the family is at the park. Peppa slides down very fast, but George is still standing at the bottom, looking up. This slide looks a bit too high for George. George starts to climb the steps one by one. When he reaches the top, he looks down and feels a little scared. George hugs Mr. Dinosaur tightly and is afraid to slide down. Don't worry, George. Daddy Pig is here to help. He sits behind George and holds him tight so he feels safer. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Whee! They both slide down together. That was amazing! George is very happy, and he isn't scared of the high slide anymore. Everyone is laughing happily. What a wonderful day at the park! Peppa Pig and the Rainy Day. It's a rainy day! Peppa and George put on their raincoats and boots, ready to play outside. Peppa jumps into the first puddle. George follows, and they both laugh as water splashes everywhere. Bigger puddles make Peppa and George jump high, creating playful circles of water. Daddy Pig and Mummy Pig join in. The whole family jumps in puddles, laughter echoing across the yard. A wonderful rainy day comes to an end. Peppa and her family admire the rainbow, remembering these playful moments forever.
The night is deep. Peppa is sound asleep. But look, a little star is gliding by. Wake up, Peppa. Today, you're going to be a star catcher. Look, stars are falling. Gently, Peppa. Let's catch them. 1 star, 2 stars. The jar is lighting up. It's magic! Now Peppa has a magical nightlight. Good night, little star catcher.
Little Pig and his sister decided to explore a forest that was said to have many strange things. But no one expected that. Today would be a special adventure. As they went deeper into the forest, they came across a giant tree, standing tall in the middle of the road. But not any ordinary tree. Suddenly, a mysterious warning rang out from within the tree. Be careful, darkness is approaching, and things will never be the same again. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The shadows of the trees began to move, but it wasn't the wind. Little Pig and Sister Pig ran faster, but the darkness seemed to be unyielding. And in the end, nothing strange happened. Everything was in the sisters' imagination.
Peppa and the ballet dance. Peppa was wearing a pink flared dress and standing in the middle of the living room. George and Father Pig stood opposite her, looking a little confused. Today, Peppa is holding a special class. She is teaching George and Daddy Pig how to dance ballet. Look at Peppa. She spins as gracefully as a little princess. George tries to follow her, but ballet is much harder than he thought.
Now it's Daddy Pig's turn. Oh dear, every time he jumps, the whole house shakes. It seems Daddy Pig is a bit too heavy to be a ballet dancer.
Anyway, everyone is having a wonderful time. Ballet isn't just about being graceful, it's about lots of laughter too.
Seasons of the year. Spring. This is spring! Peppa sees the flowers blooming and hears the birds singing in the garden. Spring is so beautiful. Summer. This is summer. The sun shines brightly. Peppa and George play outside and drink cool water to stay refreshed. ... Autumn. This is autumn. The leaves turn yellow, orange, and red, falling all over the yard. Peppa and George enjoy jumping over the piles of leaves. Winter. This is winter. It's cold and the snow falls all around. Peppa and George wear warm clothes and happily make a snowman. Peppa and George see that each season has its own beauty. They learn that spring, summer, autumn, and winter are all fun and special. Peppa Pig learns to draw. Today, Peppa is learning to draw. She's so excited to make a beautiful picture. Peppa starts drawing a little house. Oh, how cute it looks! George wants to draw too. And of course, it's a big green dinosaur. Mummy Pig says both drawings are wonderful. Peppa and George giggle with joy.
Whoa!
What a fun drawing day! Peppa feels like a real little artist now. Little Pig and his sister decided to explore a forest that was said to have many strange things. But no one expected that. Today would be a special adventure. As they went deeper into the forest, they came across a giant tree, standing tall in the middle of the road. But not any ordinary tree. Suddenly, a mysterious warning rang out from within the tree. Be careful, darkness is approaching, and things will never be the same again. Suddenly, the atmosphere changed. The shadows of the trees began to move, but it wasn't the wind. Little Pig and Sister Pig ran faster, but the darkness seemed to be unyielding. And in the end, nothing strange happened. Everything was in the sisters' imagination. One fine evening, Little Pig was sleeping soundly in his room. But as he closed his eyes and fell asleep, a strange dream began. The little pig opened his eyes and found himself at the bottom of the sea, surrounded by colorful fish and beautiful coral reefs. Little Pig wanders into an underwater garden where sea flowers are blooming and dancing to cheerful music. The baby pig swims like a little fish and can even surf like a superhero. Everything under the sea is fun and colorful. After a wonderful adventure, Little Pig felt a little tired and decided to return to the real world. The water world gradually disappeared, leaving behind a feeling of relief. Listen to stories. It's storybook time! The family gathers on the cozy sofa. Mummy Pig opens their favorite book. Mummy Pig begins to read in a warm voice. Peppa and George look closely at the colorful pictures. Peppa points at a drawing. The story is getting more exciting. George rubs his eyes, trying to stay awake. Look, Daddy Pig is already fast asleep in his armchair. Mummy Pig smiles, turning to the last page. The story ends! Peppa and George give a little clap. What a lovely story! Special rain! Begins, but it's not ordinary rain. Sparkling, colorful drops fall into Peppa's garden. Each magical raindrop turns into a beautiful flower. The green garden bursts into colorful blooms. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig run into the garden, amazed by the magical flower garden created by the rain. The whole family laughs joyfully. Peppa and George dance among the flowers, enjoying the magical rain with their family. A very special day, full of colors and happiness.
A friendly morning greeting. Hello, new day. The morning sun is peeking into the room. Peppa stretches out to welcome a bright new day. Woo-hoo-hoo! A friendly greeting helps everyone start their day on a good note. Look, Peppa is waving hello to the whole world. Whoa! Hello, Susie. Hello, Danny. The neighbor friends are also sending warm waves back to the two siblings. When we share joy, we receive smiles in return. The pig family is all ready for today's exciting things. Wishing everyone a wonderful morning filled with love.
Peppa learns about flowers. Today, Peppa and George are going to learn about flowers. They walk into the garden and see many colorful flowers. Peppa points at the bright red roses and says, "These are roses, so beautiful and fragrant." Peppa sees the tall sunflowers, bright yellow, always turning towards the sun. George points at the colorful tulips. They learn that tulips are shaped like little cups. Peppa sees orchids growing on small branches. These flowers are elegant and come in many colors. Peppa and George are very happy to know the names and features of the flowers. They learn that each flower has its own color and shape. How wonderful! Peppa learns about independence. Today, Mummy Pig gives Peppa and George some house chores. Peppa will fold the clothes, and George will help Mummy Pig clean up. Peppa starts folding the clothes, but everything turns out not quite as she expected. The clothes get tangled and aren't as neat as Peppa thought. Peppa decides to clean the furniture in the living room, but instead of cleaning everything, she only wipes a little and leaves some dust behind. Mummy Pig sees Peppa struggling, so she helps her complete the chores. Mummy Pig shows Peppa how to fold clothes neatly and clean the furniture properly. In the end, Peppa and George finish their chores. Peppa feels proud because she has learned how to be independent and do housework properly.
Peppa and the surprise bubble party. Mummy Pig is doing the laundry. Oh dear, it looks like Mummy Pig has put a bit too much soap into the washing machine. Look, bubbles are overflowing everywhere. Peppa and George are so excited with this giant sea of soap. Meanwhile, Daddy Pig is busy reading his newspaper. The bubble clouds have completely surrounded him. Where has Daddy Pig gone? Daddy Pig just gave a big sneeze. What a surprising and fun bubble party for the whole family.
Hide and seek in a box.
Peppa and George are playing hide and seek. Peppa closes her eyes and counts to 10. George needs to find a hiding place quickly. George has found a great hiding place. He climbs into the toy box. Be very quiet, George. Don't let Peppa hear you. Where is George hiding? Peppa looks behind the curtain, then looks under the table. No one there. Look, the toy box is moving. Peppa creeps up to the box. Found you, George! George was hiding in the toy box all along. Both siblings are very happy. Playing hide and seek is so much fun!
Peppa Pig and the hopscotch dance. Peppa held the chalk, completing the final strokes for square number 10. She stood at the starting line, taking a deep breath full of confidence. The numbers are ready! Peppa is preparing to perform her most skillful hopscotch jump ever. Hop away, Peppa. 1 foot, 2 feet. So skillful. Look how well she balances herself. It was George's turn. He tried to lift one leg but wobbled a little. George jumped with both feet into square number 1 and giggled. George wants to give it a try too. It's a bit tricky, but George is trying his very best. Let's reach the finish line together. Hopscotch not only keeps us healthy, but is also so much fun to play together.
A happy morning starts with, a delicious chocolate cake. Oh my, who could resist? But when the baby turned around, oh what? Where did the cake go? The little Pig is on a hunt. Under the table, in the fridge, even in his boots. And finally, the cake was right in the hands of the pig, eating deliciously. But don't worry, Piggy has prepared a second portion of cake for you. How sweet!
Peppa and practice walking on stilts. Peppa and George have made creative stilts using tin cans. Look how easily Peppa can walk around.
Whoa!
Daddy Pig wants to give it a try too. He says he was an expert at walking on stilts when he was a little pig. Oh dear, Daddy Pig is far too heavy for the tin cans. He's not walking, he's sinking straight into the ground. Maybe Daddy Pig needs giant steel cans. What a memorable day of walking on stilts.
Peppa learns numbers. Today, Peppa and George are learning about numbers. They see numbers on blocks and toys around them. Peppa sees the number 1 and says, "This is number 1. There is only 1." George laughs and nods in agreement. Peppa and George see 2 balls on the ground. Peppa says, "This is number 2. There are 2 balls." They count together. 1, 2. Peppa sees 3 chairs and says, "This is number 3. There are 3 chairs." George counts along with Peppa. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Peppa and George learn the numbers from 1 to 5. Mummy Pig and Daddy Pig are very proud of the children for learning their numbers. One fine evening, Little Pig was sleeping soundly in his room. But as he closed his eyes and fell asleep, a strange dream began. The little pig opened his eyes and found himself at the bottom of the sea, surrounded by colorful fish and beautiful coral reefs. Little Pig wanders into an underwater garden where sea flowers are blooming and dancing to cheerful music. Whoa! The baby pig swims like a little fish and can even surf like a superhero. Everything under the sea is fun and colorful. After a wonderful adventure, Little Pig felt a little tired and decided to return to the real world. The water world gradually disappeared, leaving behind a feeling of relief. Little Pig and Big Pig were walking in the park when they suddenly heard a strange sound coming from behind the bushes. They both stopped and looked at each other curiously. Little Pig started to guess. Could it be a giant bear sleeping in there? And Sister Pig thought, or maybe a squirrel looking for food. The rustling from the bushes grew louder. Neither of them could figure out, what was it? Could it be a monster? And then, suddenly, Daddy Pig jumped out from the bushes, scaring Little Pig and Sister Pig out of their wits. It turned out that Daddy Pig was playing hide and seek. After a moment of panic, the whole pig family laughed out loud. It turned out that the strange thing behind the bush was a fun game that Father Pig thought up. George, Ocean Explorer. Today, the bathtub has become the deep Atlantic Ocean. George is preparing for a grand expedition. George is the brave captain. He brought his best crew member, Mr. Dinosaur. They dive down into the deep sea. They are searching for lost treasure. They swim past the coral reefs, That's the soap bubbles. Look! George found a strange sea creature, Mr. Duck.
Aha!
Mr. Dinosaur meets a friendly giant. A huge whale is spraying water into the air. What a wonderful sight at the bottom of the ocean! It's time to return to dry land. George had such a wonderful ocean adventure. Goodbye, sea!